Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness routinely asks the question, is Stephen Strange happy? The film goes through the emotional weight and heft and sort of grief that we've had in this MCU phase that we're in with WandaVision and Hawkeye and the MCU TV shows and Shang-Chi and all of that. It goes into the, what does it mean to feel grief? What does it mean to feel human? And that, at the core of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, is all about what it means to be human. There are two paths in the film. You have Wanda's path and Stephen Strange's path. One goes on sort of a healthy-ish way of dealing with that, and one obviously goes on a different way that is a lot more destructive and self-destructive than even you or I could imagine. But throughout the film, we get a lot of emotional sort of scenes between the two of them, between the people that they love, and it just all coalesces into this great big ball of what it means to be human, and a great way to get you and I to sort of feel for these characters, even though they're so superhuman, so powerful, more powerful than we could even ever imagine. Sam Raimi is the director of the film and stars Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen and Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez. It also stars Rachel McAdams, Benedict Wong, and a couple of other surprises throughout the film. It is a Sam Raimi film through and through, though. It's also written by Michael Waldron, who puts in a great script here that takes all of this sort of multiversal stuff that could get lost and fits it together nicely in a way that's not confusing to the audience. This film, Sam Raimi is all over it, whether you like it or not, if you like his films or not. This is a Sam Raimi film. It has his camera techniques, it has his visual style, it has his frenetic pace to his action and everything, and it just is the most creative that Marvel, I think, has ever let a director be, whether that's Taika Waititi's Throne or Sam Raimi here with this film. It is a Sam Raimi film more so than a Marvel film. The big story going into the film was that it was sort of a horror film disguised as a superhero film, and that's very much true here, where you get a lot of horror elements, whether that's jump scares, atmosphere, or just body horror with some of the characters and some of the positions that they're put in the film. The horror scenes go even further with Sam Raimi's trademark stuff of point of view shots that are sort of a little bit herky-jerky, but not too much to make you disoriented. But the scenes involving those POV shots are magnificent. They are terrifying. And of course, the most terrifying character in the film is Wanda Maximov, the Scarlet Witch. Elizabeth Olsen in the film carries the whole thing. She steals the show. And with an actor like Benedict Cumberbatch giving a performance in the character like Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange, that he absolutely owns, it's even bigger of an achievement for her that she fits this much into this film with her facial expressions, the way her eyes move, just everything. It's about the character of Wanda / the Scarlet Witch. There's a scene at the beginning, right at the beginning of the film, where she sort of turns and she sort of transforms right before your eyes, and you can see it in her eyes, you can see it, hear it in her voice. It's just an all-around, incredibly well-rounded performance from Elizabeth Olsen here on the film, and she just owns the character. Of the performances that we've seen in the MCU, she might give the best one as her character here. She knows who her character is, and she absolutely owns it. Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez is also fantastic in the film. She's sassy, and yet she's heartwarming, and she just, you know, she's not a very old actress, and hasn't done very much in her young career, but this performance really gets me excited for what she could do in the future of this character, in the future in her acting career, because she is just fantastic. She's emotional. You can really feel the weight of her character and feel how she feels as America Chavez, sort of going through the multiverse and having to live through basically all she's lived through since she found out about her powers. And she works really well off of Benedict Cumberbatch, and she works really well off of Elizabeth Olsen in this film as well. The Scarlet Witch in this film is just, oh my gosh, she's so brutal in some of her actions, and in some other ways she feels very much like a universal monster, like Frankenstein's monster here, where she is created from this horrible, horrible grief and this horrible, horrible situation that she's put herself in, that she's had to go through from WandaVision. She's the most terrifying part of the film. It's bar none. She is just a monster in this film. She's more monster than human even throughout the course of the runtime here. She's also the most savage villain we've had in a Marvel movie. If you thought Thanos was savage, what Wanda or the Scarlet Witch does to some of the characters in this film will surprise you, especially for the content in a Marvel film, because obviously they do have to cater them towards kids a little bit. This one, some of the kills that she does are, oh my god, it's a little skin crawling with the way that she does it. And in other ways, it's just so satisfying to see. She is just unbelievably powerful at the height of her powers here in this film, and it's almost kind of hard to think that they could find a way to get around that in the film. But they do find a way to get around it, and the way that the script works out, the ending and the third act of the film, it gets around that sort of problem that you have with having this super overpowered character in the Scarlet Witch, where she is fearsome. Everyone is afraid of her. The master of the mystic arts, Stephen Strange himself, is afraid of her. And you should be. You should be afraid of Wanda in this film, because she is utterly brutal, utterly powerful, and the way that they get around it is very, very unique and very, very emotional and hefty in the third act. It has a fast pace. It's a very speedy film. It's only 2 hours and 6 minutes. It's not that like Avengers Endgame or Spider-Man No Way Home length, but it works in the film's favor, because if you have sort of the Spider-Man No Way Home multiverse stuff was a little on the surface level, this goes deeper into that and goes pretty deep. And if it had to sit there and bog down and, oh, well, how is this happening? How is it going through? It would really, really confuse the audience. But with the pace that it's at and the way that it sort of speeds through it with that Sam Raimi style, it works wonders. And so there are people out there that might be disappointed that it's not super long, but it doesn't feel like it's that quick. It's weird to describe, but it's a great length for the film. And if it was any longer, it might get overloaded, and if it was any shorter, it would feel like, Venom 2 or something like that, where there's just not enough content. It's kind of the perfect amount of content you get in the film. I mentioned that you should temper your expectations. Obviously, this is a spoiler-free review, so you're not going to hear anything about the different characters that you meet throughout the film, but you should temper your expectations a little bit, because it is just, at the end of the day, a character study about Wanda and Stephen Strange. So you get this sort of vast multiverse story, but it boils down to those two characters and how they deal with their different problems that they're going throughout the story. There are people out there in the entertainment industry that need to pump up the film and hype it up and whip everybody up into a fervor. But going into the film, if you temper your expectations and you just look at it for what it is, you will not be disappointed. You will love this film. You will love the characters that it goes through. You will love America Chavez. You'll love Wong even more than you do. And you'll love Stephen Strange, and you will truly feel for Wanda and the wound that she has and that she carries around in the film. And it does a great job at doing that and not just making it out like it's, oh, she's just a one-dimensional villain here. She absolutely is not. If you're going to compare it to a Marvel movie, I wouldn't compare it to those bigger Avengers, Spider-Man No Way Home style films. I would compare it more to Thor Ragnarok, where Thor Ragnarok does have this big, grand sort of feel to it, but at the end of the film, it's about Thor and his wound and how he goes through it and how he gets through it. And this film is very much about Doctor Strange and his wound and how he gets through that and how he finds his happiness throughout this whole journey that they go on in the film. It is one of the best Marvel sequels out there. It is among the best that they've made. It fits right in with that Thor Ragnarok sort of pantheon that you're going to get. I would give it a 96 out of 100, because the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I want to rewatch the film and get all those small details. I just want to go through it again and feel that emotional journey that you go on throughout the film. The more I think about it, the more I like it. The more I really, really want to scream about this film from the rooftops. It's fantastic. It has great performances from Elizabeth Olsen. It has a good script from Michael Waldron that keeps everything sort of packed together tight. And of course, Sam Raimi directs the living hell out of it. It is a great, great film, and it'll benefit you greatly from watching it. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is a fantastic Marvel sequel. It's a fantastic sort of superhero horror film, and I can't wait to hear everyone else's reactions to it. Let me know in the comments or on Twitter at Hunter Bolding if you what you think about the film after you watch it. And let's enter the multiverse. Let's enter the multiverse. Let's see what Marvel has in store for us after this one, because this one's a wild ride. And and I loved it. Thank you for watching this review of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more Marvel content, more heavy metal, more horror content, more video game content, movie reviews. Anything you can think of, I do it here on my channel. So thank you for watching, and make sure to support me, and make sure to go see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.